Wait. Okay.
Take 2. Take 3.
In,
Take 4.
in Missouri, there are... Who is that? Oh, it's my girlfriend.
Take 5.
In Missouri, there are hundreds of thousands of pounds of cheese to the tune of like 1.4 billion pounds held hundreds of feet underground in old limestone mines that have been converted to caves that are held at a perfect 36 degrees. How we got to this point, kind of I guess the topic of this episode, and I'll let you take some guesses along the way, but it starts with a dairy shortage in the 70s. This is
Country Roads
Creeps.
Not our best work.
Not our best work. It's a cheese episode. I'm excited. I love cheese.
I'm really excited for this episode. You already knew about it, but I came across it on Instagram or something and sent it to you.
Yeah.
I was like, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah. The cheese is it's a weird one. So
yeah.
do you have anything you want to say before we get into it?
We're podcasting with a baby today who is currently asleep, but it remains to be seen if she will stay that way, so there might be some hollering in the background. She's so cute and funny. I love her.
She's funny.
Shane?
Just kidding. It's pretty cute.
She's adorable.
And I won't let her have any meatballs, though, so.
She's 3 months old.
Whatever. I was eating meatballs when I was 2 months old.
Whatever.
I could spell it, too. So, listen. Oh, hey, wait just a second. Leave us a 5-star review on wherever you're listening. It's important. Means that, and then people will look at our page and they'll be like, wow, people like these people.
Oh, and we have stickers. If you want a sticker, let us know.
Let us know if you want a sticker.
They're cool.
We're not really selling them or anything, but if you...
We'll just give you one.
Yeah, we'll give you one in public and slap them on gas tanks and stuff.
We're not doing that. We're not vandalizing property.
It's barely vandalism.
We're not doing that, but we will give you a sticker if you want one. Let us know.
Yeah.
Continue.
Follow us also. Instagram, Facebook, Country Roads Creeps. Anyway. Listen. There's a dairy shortage in the 70s. And because of this dairy shortage, there was a 30% inflation in dairy products pretty much across the entire United States. So the government, good old government, came to help. This is like where my, immediately red flags go up for me.
Because it's the government?
Yeah, anytime the government's like, oh, we'll help solve this problem. It's like, first of all, it never solves the problem and it makes it worse and then it costs the public more money. So
yeah,
it's just, it's one of the things that I feel like everybody should probably agree with this. And it's something that, it's like a famous Ronald Reagan line. And it was the most terrifying words in the English language are, we're from the government and we're here to help.
Oh no.
But, so the government intervened and that resulted in the prices of all the dairy products falling pretty drastically. But then Jimmy Carter decided to pour a bunch of money into the dairy industry to motivate production. And so the government set this new policy to subsidize dairy, and they provided $2 billion to the industry over the next 4 years. So that plan, okay, listen.
Enough with the heavy sighs.
I'm so irritated already.
Oh my gosh.
You would think, right, that if you have an industry and it's going to fail because people don't want to buy your products, then it should fail, right? but you can't just let the dairy industry fail.
Yeah.
But then, so the government intervened. And the thing about, like, you ever heard the phrase, there's nothing more permanent than a government program?
Uh-oh.
It's a thing. The government programs never go away. So the farmers are all happy about the government's giving us money to make dairy and milk and stuff. But it also means that they're getting money to produce this stuff that, guess what, people aren't buying. And there's overproduction going on. And that's why prices fall, because you've got too much, and then there's not enough demand. Supply and demand, high school economics, and then so the price goes down, and then people buy it.
Correct.
And then when there's not enough, because people bought it all, then the price goes back up, so people stop buying it.
I teach that in my class.
Do you?
One of our third grade standards.
Great.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the farmers that were struggling to produce all this dairy, they're motivated by $2 billion for the next 4 years. And so they decided they were going to make as much dairy as they possibly could. So because they knew that whatever wasn't sold in the United States market, because hardly any of it was, the dairy consumption in the United States went down by something like 70% or something during, like, before this all happened.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know,
sorry
people-
for asking.
I
Try to sound less annoyed with
had a
me.
little bit of a tone. But I'm
A lot
annoyed,
of a tone.
not at you, but at the government. Well, so there's less dairy consumption. I don't really know the exact reason why. What I will say is that there's been some studies throughout the last 50, 60, 70 years that almost all of them say that dairy isn't really that healthy for people to consume
Yeah.
regularly. So it could be something like that. I don't know, but I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But so they all decided that they're going to make as much dairy as they possibly can, because even if it wasn't sold, then they knew that the government would be purchasing it. And so by the 80s, the government owned 500 million pounds of cheese. And it was,
Goodness.
the dairy products were converted to cheese because it has a longer shelf life than other dairy products. So they had to come up with some kind of solution. So I saw a video. I don't know if this was a joke or if this was a real thing, but it definitely sounds like a real thing, because they said one of the first plans that they came up with, somebody said they were going to throw it into the ocean.
Throw the cheese in the ocean?
Yeah. And it solves the problem. They don't have the cheese anymore. And then we get to study if blue whales are lactose intolerant.
I mean, yeah, I guess it would solve the problem, but it would probably create a different problem.
Nah. I don't know of any problems that have ever been caused by throwing stuff in the ocean. The ocean's big. So anyway, they own all this cheese, and they got to figure out, like, what the heck are we going to do with it? Because at the time, they've got 500 million pounds, and they have to refrigerate all of it. And that cost, do you want to guess how much it costs per day to refrigerate 500 million pounds of cheese?
I can't even begin to guess, but I'm sure it's a lot.
Take one guess of a number.
I can't. I don't know.
Go ahead.
But I know it's going to be a bunch.
$1 million per day.
Shane, I was going to say $1 million, but I was like, no, you'll look like an idiot if that's not right. But I was going to guess $1 million.
What if you were like 1 million? I was like, no, $20.
I know. I was afraid it was going to be something like that. I should have just gone with my gut.
Yep. So
That's insane.
in 1981, Ronald Reagan was like, hey, what the heck? We got all this cheese. And then Secretary of Agriculture John R. Block shows up at the White House, and he's got this molding 5-pound block of cheese. And he told reporters, we got 60 million of these that the government owns. It's moldy and it's deteriorating. We can't find a market for it. We can't sell it. And we're looking to give some of it away. Thus, quote unquote, government cheese was born. You ever heard the phrase government cheese?
Yeah, Dirk and I call American cheese, like Kraft singles slices, we call that Gov cheese. We didn't make that up. That's a lot of people call that Gov cheese.
Okay. Well, I like Kraft singles, so.
Me too. That's what we buy, but we call it Gov cheese.
The federal government distributed cheese blocks through the Temporary Emergency Food Assistance Program, TFAP. It was given away for free by pickup to people at food banks and community centers and everywhere else. And government cheese became kind of a pillar of some American culture because, like, there's a little bit of nostalgia there. Actually, it's referenced by Kendrick Lamar and Jay-Z and Snoop Dogg. Actually, Snoop Dogg even taught Martha Stewart how to cook with it on their show. So.
Oh, and can I say something else that it's in?
No.
It's in the Wahlburger restaurants on their hamburgers, like on the menu that says government cheese.
Oh.
I guess they grew up with that. The Wahlbergs.
Is that the puppets?
No.
What's the Wahlburger?
Like Mark Wahlberg. His family has the Wahlburgers.
They have a restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not here. It's like south.
So now we're jumping way forward to now, 2019. Not now. Now is 2024, but recently it was 2019. The government found itself storing more cheese, and now it's reached a point of 1.4 billion pounds.
That's absurd.
With a B, 1.4 billion.
Absurd.
And so they've got some trade disputes going on, declining dairy consumption nationally. American government's been subsidizing and stockpiling American surplus cheese. Actually, according to the USDA, American milk consumption has dropped from 275 pounds per capita in 1975 to 149 pounds per capita in 2017. I guess that's per 1,000 people, or per person per year or something. I don't know. Anyway, even though the demand is declining, you remember that part earlier I said there's nothing more permanent than a government program?
Yeah.
They have not stopped subsidizing cheese, or not necessarily cheese, but all dairy production. Actually, did you know that the government subsidizes pretty much all farming?
Mm-hmm.
All farms get some sort of subsidy from the government. I'm not saying that's good or bad. What I am saying, though, is that if the United States isn't, like, if we're not drinking milk or eating as much cheese anymore, why are we spending probably way more than $2 billion every 4 years? But no president wants to be the guy who's like, I'm going to cut milk programs now. Like,
right, because like obviously we still need the farmers and we still need the agriculture, of course, but it's like maybe less milk, less cheese, more
exactly
whatever else they want to grow.
So the demand is declining pretty substantially. Production has not declined because of the subsidies. It's actually risen 13% since 2010. And in 2016, the American dairy industry dumped a whopping 43 million gallons of milk just in the fields.
That's so wasteful.
They put it into like animal feed. They just dump it. They put it in anaerobic lagoons. I don't know what that is. I didn't look it up.
Beans.
So
that could be made up.
What did you say?
Beans.
What about beans?
Legumes. Or beans.
Lagoons, like a pond.
I thought you said legume. Like Legume.
No, I know what a legume is.
Is that a bean?
Yes.
Wait.
I think a peanut.
I
think a peanut is a legume, so maybe it's a nut. Maybe it's a type of. Anyway.
But you said lagoon, like the Blue Lagoon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So, like I said, 43 million pounds or million gallons, right? What did I say? What is in my notes? 43 million gallons of milk. And did you know that water weighs, 8 pounds per gallon? Does milk weigh more per gallon?
Mm-mm.
Anyway, they're dumping that much, which means that 43 million gallons is not being bought up by the government. That's not representative of the size of the surpluses being run by dairy farms. The dairy industry received $43 billion and $36.3 billion in 2016 and 2017, respectively, from the federal government.
That
So in the 70s,
silly. If we don't need that much anymore.
in the 70s, over 4 years, they spent $2 billion. That's $500 million per year. And just 2 years, 2016 and 2017, they spent $36 billion and $43 billion just on dairy farms.
Goodness.
Is that not ridiculous? Is that like...
I don't want us to sound like we're saying that farmers shouldn't get money, because we need the farmers.
We're not.
But maybe redirect the money to
We're not saying
else to the farmers.
What I am saying is that...
There's too much milk.
Hey.
There's too much milk. There's too much cheese.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing? What is the government doing subsidizing the industry in the first place if there's not a problem with... if there's not a shortage? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your baby agrees with me. So. Anyway. Actually, she's probably like 50.
I was going to say, she's probably on the other side of, yeah, we want more milk.
Yeah, she loves milk.
Mm-hmm.
So listen. In 2018, 42% of the revenue of dairy farmers came from some kind of government support. Could you imagine, like, I don't know if there's any other business except for maybe like terrorists or crack dealers who that much of their income comes from the United States federal government.
Shade.
That's not even a lie. I covered it in a few episodes ago. The government supports terrorism in other countries. They do it. It's documented. And you know what the CIA says? They say, hey, like 20 years later, after they get accused of it, they're like, we did that. What are you going to do about it?
Because it's 20 years later.
Like, what are you going to do about it? We shot JFK. You're not going to do anything about that either. So anyway.
Get back to the topic at hand.
Martin Luther King. So anyway.
Yeah.
So irritated. So listen. We should probably note that not only is the government subsidizing the dairy farmers are subsidizing politicians because they lobby the government freaking every election, and they give money, and they give money to the politicians, and the politicians promise that they're going to give them more money the next year. Doesn't that sound like a crime? Shouldn't that be a crime? That any industry, not necessarily dairy, but any industry should be able to give money to politicians in return. The politicians promise that they're going to give that industry more money.
Probably.
Doesn't seem super sketchy.
Probably. I don't know anything about anything, though.
I've changed my mind.
I have no knowledge.
Yeah, you're a teacher. You wouldn't know anything about that. So, not that the Department of Education or teachers unions or anything like that do that. That's crazy. Anyway, Hannah doesn't have an opinion. I definitely do, and it's negative towards any of that. So,
Shane's in a mood today.
So grumpy.
You walked in grumpy.
So, anyway. Listen, I'm so mad. Additionally, dairy products are in less and less demand every single year. So in the 90s, listen to this. In the 90s, do you want to guess which government program started in the 90s?
Out of all the government programs? That's so broad.
I'll give you a hint. It was the Clintons.
I don't know. You know I don't know things.
Dairy Management Incorporated.
How would I guess that?
I'm about to get into it. This is going to be the part where, and I'm really, honestly, everybody knows I'm kind of a conspiracy person.
Kind of.
I'm trying not to be like a conspiracy person. Do you know what Dairy Management Incorporated started?
No.
Got Milk.
Oh.
Yeah. Now Hannah's on board.
Conspiracy.
Got Milk.
Actually, I'm on board. I'm 100% on board.
This is the biggest psyop of our childhood.
Propaganda.
This is the biggest propaganda campaign that they ever could have done. Got Milk. Listen, when you see a commercial and it's not tied to a company, they never advertise that they were like, hey, it's this company, we're trying to sell milk. Nope.
It was just milk.
Hey, are you drinking milk? Because you have to have milk. And they even had commercials. There was one where this kid had milk in a glass and his mom was like, hey, you're not going to drink your milk? And he's like, no, the guy next door says he never drinks milk and he's fine. And he's like trying to pick up a wheelbarrow and his arms fall off.
Oh my gosh, that's dark.
So they're telling kids, if you don't drink milk, your arms are going to fall off. And you don't, and everybody, Shaquille O'Neal, Taylor Swift, Kanye West, Drake, Ozzy Osbourne, they all had milk mustaches in the commercials.
I was going to say, I do not remember that weird commercial with someone's arms falling off. That's insane. But I do remember all the posters with different celebrities on them. And if you think way back in middle school, they had those big posters hanging up in the cafeteria, and they would switch them out every so often to a different celebrity with the milk mustache.
Yep.
I remember like being younger and drinking the milk and purposely making a milk mustache and doing the whole got milk thing. Like that's how prevalent it was everywhere.
You drank the Kool-Aid or the supposed milk.
Yeah, I did drink the milk.
Yep.
I wore the milk mustache.
It's a gigantic psyop. It's insane. Did you know that this company, because they are now in charge of all of the dairy subsidy, like all the surplus stuff now, I guess, technically with this government program, they were approaching companies who were into dairy and they said, hey, do you want to start promoting dairy with us? And then, so they got with Domino's, and Domino's was trying to promote that they sold the pizza with the most cheese. And then they went to Pizza Hut, and even Pizza Hut knew that this is a complete joke because they wrote a letter back to the Dairy Management Incorporated. And I'm going to see if I can find this image and I'll post it in the photo dump because this is completely ridiculous. They signed it. Basically, it's this whole thing. They're like, hey, thanks for meeting with us. We love your ideas. We want to put way more cheese on our pizza. They signed it. Derek, Lord of the Cheese, and Liskin, Lady of the Cheese.
Oh my God.
Even Pizza Hut knows it's a complete joke and it's all propaganda. So, Dairy Management Incorporated, did you know that they're a nonprofit?
Nope.
But did you also know that they don't have to raise their own money like other nonprofits? Dairy farmers are forced to give them money for advertising every single year to the annual budget of $140 million. They
don't have a choice?
They do not have a choice. If you're going to take
shady
government subsidies, and you're a dairy farmer, you have to give them money. And the top chief executives are making like $1 million a year. So, hey,
of course they are.
Guess what? Hey, if you want to make milk and you want to sell it, then you have to give us money. And all the money that we're collecting just for advertising is $140 million. And then, only then, are you going to get these government subsidy dollars? That sounds like a crime, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like a crime when the government forces an entire industry to give them money to a nonprofit, quote unquote nonprofit, that they set up so that they can advertise for milk, that the government is stealing taxpayer money to fund an entire industry for them? That doesn't sound like a crime to you?
Yeah, it does.
Facts. Listen. So, guess what? Also, the CIA was responsible for funneling crack into low-income neighborhoods.
That's a different episode.
Yep, sure is. So DMI is an offshoot of the Department of Agriculture. It's basically just a government checkbox company. Like they check a box and say, hey, we have this company and it's good and it's a government program. And no president wants to be the one. Like, oh my gosh, could you imagine if like freaking, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to get political because all the presidential candidates I can name right now are like modern ones. Could you imagine if George Bush was like, hey, I'm going to stop dairy funding?
No.
The outrage.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, first, never mind. I'm just skip over that joke.
Yeah.
So
moving along.
The Department of Agriculture works to get Americans to consume more dairy, even though the Department of Health and Human Services has conducted studies showing that dairy is not even very healthy to be consumed regularly, and not only, about 36% of Americans are lactose intolerant.
Why do they still recommend for kids to drink so much milk?
Because they're evil.
Like, I get, like, yeah, you do have to have calcium, but do you have to get it from mass amounts of milk? No, you don't.
No. 36% of people in America are lactose intolerant. That...
Try again?
Lactose intolerance at that rate is significantly higher for minority groups. 75% of African Americans are lactose intolerant, 51% of Latinos, and 80% of Asian Americans.
I did not realize that.
And just 21% of Caucasians. You know what else is crazy about being allergic to lactose is that we don't say that you're allergic to lactose because we know that you're going to make the bad decision to drink milk and eat cheese.
Yeah.
We just call it an intolerance. Like, could you imagine if you were like, no, I'm intolerant to bee stings. My throat will close up and I'll die. Anyway, Dairy Management Inc. started the campaign like Got Milk, super famous. Taco Bell did the double steak quesadillas, and the Pizza Hut did the cheesy crust, and milk got a huge part in the federal school lunch programs.
Still is.
They even bailed out Domino's in 2010 in the recession to keep Americans eating cheese.
No, they didn't.
Listen to this.
Real?
Yeah, I didn't make that up. Nothing
Crazy.
in this episode, any of the crazy stuff that I said about the CIA.
Hey, quit being mean to me. I'm having a conversation. You are misdirecting your anger at the government towards me because I'm in the room. That is misplaced anger, and I need you to redirect it to the appropriate party.
My bad.
Okay, thank you. I knew you weren't making anything up. It was just a way of expressing my shock that they actually did that.
Listen, I found another article. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for your apology.
I found another article about the big cheese lie. And the headline is, "The Big Cheese Lie, No, the U.S. isn't sitting on 1.4 billion pounds of cheese surplus." Except for the fact that the article goes on to explain that they are. So, this
What?
What is this article written by CNN or something? News? That's not a joke about CNN specifically. That's a joke about the media. Because it seems like every article I read nowadays is like, no, this isn't happening. And then the first two paragraphs is like, it is, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Is that not nutty to you? Anyway, I'll skip over that other thing too. So, so mad.
Live editing of your notes.
Yeah, I'm just not even. I'm gonna get into trouble if I say it. So this guy, Christopher Wolfe, he is a university professor at Cornell he's an agricultural economist. He says, quote, "I swear to you, it drives me insane because I've had multiple conversations with reporters about it." And he says that the United States is not sitting on 1.4 billion pounds of cheese. Now, he says, this is what he says. "It's a big cheese lie." He says, "It's a sweet story. At one time, it was true that the United States government snapped up a bunch of cheese at a ridiculously low cost because to keep the prices kind of level and all that. And they kept it in Missouri. However, he says he's been in them. He's been in the caves. He was in high school, and he was with Future Farmers of America, and he took a bus tour through the cheese caves under Kansas City in the 80s, and he said it's true. USD shows 1.4 billion pounds of cheese in cold storage, but the government doesn't own it. Companies like Kraft, Hilmar, Sopra, and others that sell all the cheese do. So, hey, guess what? The government bought all this cheese, and Kraft distributes it."
You can move that blanket if you want. Keeps falling. Just throw it behind you. Perfect.
So, this is ridiculous. They're like, "Oh, it's a lie," except it's not.
Yeah,
it's in the same place it was with the same property of the United States labels on them.
Yeah, so are they trying to say like the government doesn't have this, the Kraft has it?
Yeah, it's like,
same thing.
The government didn't fund and completely set up the Taliban, and then 20 years later they said, "Oh yeah, we knew about them all along."
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not saying that Kraft is a Taliban. They're like
Good
probably
clarification.
like the opposite of the Taliban because I like them.
Yeah.
And they
Good.
don't blow up buildings.
Okay, back to the script.
Anyway. So, listen. They say that the cheese is kept now because Americans eat so much cheese that they have to keep a surplus like this, like Kraft and Hilmar and all these companies that sell a lot of cheese. They have to keep a surplus like this because the people eat so much cheese. As a nation, we consume about 13.5 billion pounds of cheese each year, or about 40 pounds per person. Oh, excuse me. I did get extra cheese on my meatball sandwich today.
Do you really think that the average person has 40 pounds of cheese?
On average, like I probably eat like 120 pounds of cheese. So like
So it like balances out.
yeah, I eat a lot. I love cheese.
I probably eat like that much bread. I love bread.
Love bread too. I love cheese bread.
Did you get cheese bread today?
No.
Thought about it.
No, I was just making a joke about your baby.
Wanting cheese bread?
Yeah. And you explanation point reacted it.
Yeah, because I think she would like it if she could eat it.
She can't eat bread, Hannah. Jeez, get it together. She's only 3 months old. As a nation, 13.5 billion pounds a year, 40 pounds per person. That is nowhere near the amount of cheese that's consumed in France or in Italy, where it's twice as much that we eat twice as much cheese as like France and Italy does.
Is that because we have more people here, or is that like
per person per capita we eat?
Okay, gotcha.
But
yeah, that makes sense.
Like, what do you want from us? We
love cheese.
First of all, every one of those countries has lost a war to us, so I don't want to hear anything about it. So, like, it's totally ridiculous. Don't even talk about how much cheese I eat. So, the underground cheese vault is a myth, evolved from tiny little pieces of truth that...
but it's not a myth.
Like a bunch of conflated stories. This is what this guy is saying.
Oh, okay.
That the government has all this cheese. Except it's true. They have all this cheese in the caves. And then the Kraft is going to distribute it because we eat so much cheese. Except for the fact that every year, as recent as what I learned, 2018 was it? That the dairy industry dumped out 43 million gallons of dairy product. So what's the truth? Are we eating so much cheese that we have to keep a surplus? And if that's true, then why are they pouring it out? Why don't we turn it all into cheese and store it? And then we'll have way, way more. It just doesn't make any kind of sense.
And if we actually are eating that much, then why do we need so much of a surplus?
Because if it ever does go short.
Okay, so people don't freak out.
But that's what I'm saying. If we eat so much cheese that we have to have a surplus in case there is a shortage, then we have a surplus, then why are dairy farmers still dumping out millions of gallons per year?
Because we don't actually need that much.
Exactly. We don't need that much. So then what the heck? The government's not buying it. So, but then why doesn't Kraft buy it or Hilmar? Because guess what? They don't have to because they have 1.4 billion pounds.
Quick side note. I've had my foot resting on the power strip this entire episode and just realized what it was on. And I'm glad that I did not hit the switch on accident.
That would have been bad.
Can you imagine?
Yep. So listen, they had government cheese, and now it's technically still government cheese except for it's Kraft.
They just are taking care of it for the government.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of my notes. Kind of a little bit of a shorter episode, but I'm upset about it because So what do you think? What do you think about cheese?
I want to go to the cave and see it.
I want to go to the cave and like smuggle out a bunch of blocks of cheese and eat some.
You think Kraft would let us in?
Probably not after this episode.
Yeah.
After I talked so much.
We gotta go really quick before they hear us.
You think they would find it a compliment that I said that they were the opposite of the Taliban?
I mean, probably.
I mean,
I don't
you know what
know.
I'm saying? So, what do you think? Anything else you want to mention and talk about?
I think Canada has something similar, but it's maple syrup. They have a surplus, an emergency stock of maple syrup.
What?
I'm pretty
We're
sure.
gonna look that up really quick. That
Look it
doesn't.
up really quick.
That sounds like a joke.
No, I
like
think
a
it's
joke.
not a joke. I think.
Talk while I look this up.
I don't remember where I read that, but I think that they do have an emergency supply. I would like to go visit the cheese cave and just see, like, I want to see how is it organized. Do they have like one cave per type of cheese, or are they on? Do they build shelves? Is it just tossed in the rocks? I want to know what it looks like.
The picture that I posted today on our Facebook page is what the shelves that they have it on. It's like wheels of cheese.
Oh, I need to go look at the post.
I saw that you liked it. You didn't even look at it?
I read the thing. I told you I liked what you wrote, but I didn't really look at the picture. I was busy.
Says that they've got the world's only reserve of maple syrup.
I knew it. Okay, I see now. Oh, this is like a liminal space.
Yeah.
It's creepy looking.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, it's a bit unsettling.
It's limestone mines that were converted into caves.
If you haven't seen the picture, go check our Facebook or Instagram. It is weird.
But I've seen videos of people that this could tie into a future episode on hidden government tunnels. That the government has secret tunnels all over the United States.
You know where some are.
Don't say that out loud. Cut that out. So, but the government has these tunnels. Well, people have posted about the cheese caves, and people are like, no, these are actually just, that's actually just the road that goes to the cheese cave. Except, but it's not. It's a literal 8-lane highway under a mountain. And that's not where the cheese caves are. So, anyway. That's all I have for the episode.
Smiling in her sleep. She liked your episode.
Thanks, Liberty.
She's so cute. It's the best baby ever.
Yep. Anyway, what's new in your life?
I just really like being a mom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to work in a couple months, and that feels conflicting because I love my job, and you know that I do. You know I love teaching. I'm very passionate about it, but I don't want to leave her now. It's gonna be hard to go back to work. We were very blessed that she was born at the start of the summer because, obviously I have summer off, and then I can use my personal days right now. So I got a little extra time with her because of that timing, which I'm so thankful for, but it just goes by so fast. It doesn't feel like enough.
Right, yeah.
But it'll be okay. We're just going to enjoy the time that we do have.
It's good.
Yeah. The best.
Yeah.
Derek and I are very, very happy. Did you say very gassy?
Yeah, very gassy.
She was earlier,
Yeah, she was the last time I was here, too.
Oh, no. Okay. It's okay. She woke up a little scared. The sad look is coming out.
Oh, not the sad lib.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Country Roads Creeps. Leave us a 5-star review on your preferred podcasting platform. And Liberty, take it away.
Oh no, she's happy now. She's not.
Be safe driving home. Watch out for the knot deer.
Bye.
Bye.